Hi guys, so today I want to do a video on NVC, which is non-violent communication, and I obviously am not a master at it, so I can only teach you the basics. I have done one very small course and a day course on it, so I found it really good. And I thought that you guys might enjoy, a little bit of a taste on it as well, and hopefully you can use it in your life and maybe make some difference, at least a small difference. I believe if we look at it like this, we can actually help to change our perspectives. So NVC, non-violent communication, is a needs-based program. So it's based off what our needs are and are we getting them, how we can look at getting them. So it's a 4-step process when we're looking at how to analyze things. So we've got how can we more authentically and effectively, with more peace and clarity, find a win-win. So 4 steps of NVC. The first one is observation. The second one is feelings. The third one is needs, and the fourth one is requests. So when we look at that, observation is what you see with a camera. So like, when you maybe come into the house and there's stuff everywhere and you all of a sudden feel like they've done this because they don't respect me, or I don't matter, or something along those lines. I'm not being appreciated. Instead of making assumptions or even running to conclusions or ideas that would really actually upset you, because we all know that we want to be appreciated, we want to be respected, and respect is a really bad one as well to use straight away, because what you're really saying is, I'm not really sure how many feelings and things are going on right now, and I'm not really sure what needs aren't being met, because respect obviously is different for everyone. So when I did the workshop and I used the word respect, I started realizing that what I was really missing, was compassion and acceptance and belonging, and appreciation, and a bunch of different things, which are much easier to address than respect itself. And if you use the word, you don't respect me, that obviously causes a bit of lashback, as opposed to, I'm not really feeling appreciated and I would like to, and I'm kind of wanting to see how we can do that. So observation, we start out just looking through a camera. We get home, for instance, and you might see some things on the ground. So you might say to yourself, I see that Kaylee, my daughter, for instance, has left some things on the ground. And be maybe specific if you want to. If it's a pattern, then you could say, this week, so don't make it like a 3-year thing, but this week I've noticed that every day, or most days, there have been things on the ground when I've gotten home from work, and that's kind of a bit tough to deal with. So we haven't got to feelings yet. I find this very difficult to not mix observation with feelings, because we're so used to perceiving something and then saying, well, that makes me feel. So when you start out doing this, you want some pen and paper. So you want to write OFNR. OFNR. So OFNR is observations, feelings, needs, requests. Alrighty. Now, what's not working? This is something that really kind of blew my mind when I read it. So roadblocks to communication. So trying to fix, giving advice, correcting, educating, telling them to think differently, making it about me. So telling a similar story of mine, or one-upping them. Shutting down feelings. So consoling, reassuring, justifying, minimizing, you'll be fine, making them look at it logically. I do this all the time. Judging, blaming, criticizing, labeling, diagnosing, moralizing, focusing on what you think they should have done or how they should be. Avoiding, shutting them down, changing the subject, distracting, walking away. And there's a note at the bottom. These are not always wrong, but they may not foster connection or understanding. Because what we really want to do before we ask a request is we want to get a connection. The reason for that is if somebody asks you to do something and you're still in a wild mood, or you're feeling like they're not listening to you, some of your needs aren't being met, perhaps you're not going to take on what they're saying, well. It's definitely not a good idea to walk up to an angry man and say, "Can I have a hug?" I would love it if we could go out on that coffee date now. It's just not really the perfect time. So it's always important to kind of look at whether or not what you're asking for is appropriate at that time. And your needs, this is something the NVC teaches, your needs are never too big. It's not about whether you're needy, which is, I guess, considered a bad term in society, or whether you're distant or whatever it is. But your needs, it's not about that. It's about how you get them filled. So often we feel as though we need to get our needs filled from one person. So, in a relationship, I might want, my need for love and acceptance and belonging and achievement and all of these wonderful things filled by my partner. And my partner might feel like, oh, I'm not really that lovey-dovey, I don't really like affection. And so then you've got this roadblock, you two really care about each other, and you're feeling your needs aren't being met. He's feeling that maybe his need for space or whatever it is not being met, and you have this roadblock, which is obviously something to address when trying to fix problems. Okay, so there is Glenda's iceberg model. So Glenda's iceberg model is an iceberg and the water, and at the very top, what we see are the words that people say, the facial expressions and the body language. So what we see, the tip of the iceberg. So underneath that is feelings, needs, values, beliefs, pain, fears, triggers, experiences, assumptions, and judgments. And we have different experiences, so different beliefs, values, and understanding in life. Okay. So, simple, clear communication. So what's going on in me? What I saw or heard, what I felt, what I was needing, what I want now. It has been my experience over and over again that from the moment people begin talking about what they need rather than what's wrong with another, the possibility of finding ways to meet everybody's needs is greatly increased. Marshall Rosenberg, who's the creator of NVC, by the way, guys. Okay, so we've got here the trigger. So we've got filtered though experience, learning, culture, history, stories, interpretations, imaginings, evaluations, thoughts, judgments, analysis, diagnosis, feelings like anger, shame, depression. And then we've got on the other side, so the observation. So notice, pause, breathe, observe what a camera would see. What do I feel in response to this? What precious needs have given rise to those feelings? Choose a strategy, taking all needs into account. And then, once forming a connection, make a request. Communication that creates stronger connections. Now, the thing about NVC, it talks about being really firm with your needs, but loose with your strategies. So, I'll give you an example. I was walking home with my daughter. My hair is really irritating me, sorry guys. I was walking home with my daughter. There was a lady walking a dog. She was going straight ahead. And she had the lead across where my daughter and I were walking. So I could see a barrier. I thought, how am I going to get around this? And I did not for 1 second think of the strategy that she came up with. We didn't talk. It was an unspoken thing. And she walked to the garden, to the dog. So it cleared the path for Kaylee and I. We didn't have to do anything. But for me, I was thinking and I thought, oh, I'm going to have to go through the garden. Perhaps I can go around a long way, around the other way. So I was thinking of all these different kind of really unhelpful strategies. But what was in my control, which I guess is a rational thought, right? Because we can't control the other person. But at the same time, that was not even in my mindset, because I was so firm with the strategies, not firm with my need. My need was to keep going in the right direction, you know, to get home, to get fed, all of those wonderful things that happen in the afternoons. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's completely different when we focus on what we need. You know, we're focusing on these strategies, and we're not really being flexible with the strategies. You know, if firm with your needs is completely different to firm with your strategies. Someone who has experienced trauma usually is firmer with their strategies, because they react very drastically to change, and they find it very difficult to adjust quite quickly, because they feel as though they might be in danger. Their body does, at least. Maybe they don't, but their body does. So they go into like high alert. Okay, so observation. Okay, so what actually happened? What triggered me? So the specific incident. So I want you guys to write this down. Remember, OFNR. Okay, so observable facts. What a camera would see and hear. When I hear, see, remember, or imagine seeing or hearing. Now, avoid judgment in this. It's difficult. Doesn't blame or diagnose the other person. Not about right, wrong, good, bad. About what's going on in me. So remember, it's about the present moment in time. You can do a very short pattern, but yes, it's about what's going on in time. This is a writing exercise that you can do, and then later have that conversation with your loved one or yourself, whichever. But it's definitely for writing, because that's a really good way of getting things out. Yeah, so anyway, non-controversial. Something the other person will generally agree with. So just say someone comes over and you didn't hear them say hello. Instead of saying, you didn't say hello when you came to my house, which is an observation, right? But there's a judgment there, right? So you could say something along the lines of, I didn't hear you say hello when you came to my house. Did you say hello? I wasn't quite sure. So then you're not actually telling them what they did. Because sometimes we can make assumptions. You know, for instance, people will say stuff like, well, she did that to hurt me. And that's very easy to believe, that somebody has gone out of their way to hurt you. It may possibly be true. But at the same time, it's a lot better to think about what needs are not being met in their life for them to behave in that way. Because clearly there are needs not being met in our lives when we act in a bad way, right? Okay, so be specific about when and where. Avoid always or never or even often. So if you're saying, you always come over and never say hello, do you see how it kind of carries a heavy brunt there? Or, you know, I often don't hear from you and that makes me upset. So just be specific, because then you can say, well, that time that I didn't hear from you on Saturday, it kind of got to me, you know, because I did actually want to talk to you. So I thought maybe we could bridge the gap and see if we can form a better connection, you know. So example, that woman was really rude to me. I spoke to that woman and I didn't hear her reply. When I see the mess you've left on the floor. When I see the toys on the floor. So that's quite specific, isn't it? Okay, so feelings and needs. Feelings are in the body, not the head. We only know we have feelings because something is happening in our bodies. So feelings are feelings that are happening in our bodies, right? So feelings like abandoned, attacked, what's the other one? There's a bunch of them. They're faux or forks feelings. So they're actually feelings in our minds. They're not actually feelings. We only know we have feelings because something is happening in our bodies. Feelings are a result of whether our needs have been met, triggered, but not caused by others. I feel like that is a thought, not a feeling. Finding just the right feeling words calms us down. Murky feelings, anger, guilt, shame, depression, anxiety are results of blame thinking. So faux feelings. Words like abandon, attacked, etc. tend to end in ed, so ed, contain feelings but are actually thoughts, judgments, blame about what other people are doing to us. Leave us feeling like victims and powerless. It's more empowering to find the underlying feelings and needs. So needs versus strategies. Needs are our life energy and are universal, common to all people. Therefore, needs are connecting. Needs are our life energy. It just repeated that. Everything we do is a strategy to meet a need. Only strategies conflict, not needs. Important to focus of beauty of the needs. So the beauty of the needs... I had written it down somewhere, but anyway. So mourning unmet needs. It's really important to mourn unmet needs. So if you feel as though there's a pattern, maybe this need is not going to get met, you can mourn it like you would a passing of something, and try to perhaps meet it yourself. So we think in terms of right and wrong, deserve, because we think only those who are right can get their needs met. So there's obviously the conflict zone, which involves judgment, feelings, needs, blame, evaluation, opinion, and strategy. And then obviously we try to look at how we can assess that. Okay. Connection request. Checking connection has been made before going to an action request. Checking we're understanding each other. Example, I'm not sure I've been clear. Would you be willing to tell me back what you think I'm saying? Or, I've said a lot of things that I'm worried might be painful for you to hear. Can you tell me how you're feeling now? How that landed for you? So an action request. A request versus a demand. So a willingness to hear no. Suggesting a strategy that might meet both your needs and theirs. Specific person, location, action, time, and object. So needs are not specific to PLATO, Plato. Person, location, action, time, and an object. So it's about not expecting your needs to be met by that other person via perhaps a scenery or an action that you're doing at any given time, or an objective or object that you are, I guess, using. So doable. Action request is now. Not can you love me forever. Not a wish. Example, please be nicer to me. And not a demand. So you're willing to hear no. So you'll be saying something like along the lines of, would you be willing to do, etc., etc. Would it work for you if we tried this? So hearing a no. I hold my needs passionately and the outcome strategy lightly. Robert Gonzalez. Your request is just one way to get your need met. There are always plenty of others. Okay. So, jackal thoughts. Okay, there's a wide range of things I can teach you with this, but I will just give you guys a list of feelings and needs, and then you guys can do an exercise, and I can do another video on this later, because it's been going for 20 minutes now, so you know, I want to make it too long. Okay, so we've got the observation, so what you see in a camera. You've written that down, what happened, and then you want to go on to what feelings you were feeling at the time. So what feelings were coming up. Okay, so underneath affectionate are all a bunch of affiliated terms. Underneath confident are affiliated terms. Underneath engaged, inspired, excited, peaceful, joyful, hopeful, grateful, exhilarated, refreshed, and then we've got when needs are not being met. So we've got afraid, annoyed, angry, aversion, confused, disconnected, disquiet, embarrassed, fatigue, pain, sadness, tense, vulnerable, yearning, and feelings mixed with thoughts are anger, depression, anxiety, shame, guilt. And examples of faux feelings: abandoned, abused, attacked, betrayed, bullied, intimidated, manipulated, neglected, rejected, and used. Okay, so underneath all of those feelings are affiliated feelings. So under annoyed, for instance, is aggravated, dismayed, disgruntled, displeased, exasperated, frustrated, impatient, irritated, irked. Angry could be enraged, furious, incensed, indignant, irate, livid, outraged, resentful. Underneath aversion, animosity, appalled, contempt, disgusted, dislike, hate, horrified, hostile, repulsed. Underneath sad could be depressed, dejected, despair, despondent, disappointment, discouraged, disheartened, forlorn, gloomy, heavy-hearted, hopeless, melancholy, unhappy, or wretched. Underneath vulnerable is fragile, guarded, helpless, insecure, leery, reserved, sensitive, shaky. Underneath yearning is envious, jealous, longing, nostalgic, pining, wistful. So, I mean, there's a massive list. I'm going to obviously give you guys a copy of this list. I will take a photo so you have it. So when you're doing your exercise, you can have a look at the list and you can go, oh my goodness, this is the feeling. This is the feeling that I was feeling. This is the feeling that they were feeling. So I want you guys to do an O and R, for yourself and the other person. Obviously, we can only make assumptions on how they were really feeling or what was really going on for them, but it really does help to feel as though people are not doing things to you. Because we all know people do things for themselves, not to you. So it's to meet their own needs. It's not to attack you, whatever their needs are. Okay, so some universal needs, and I will end it on this, and you guys can do the exercise, and I can work through with you and let you know if you've got your observation correct, if you want. So just ask, I'm more than happy to help. Okay, so universal human needs, also known as life-enhancing qualities or longings of the heart. That's what the longings of the heart was. I knew it. So values, wants, what matters to me, motivations, drivers, yearnings, why we do everything that we do. Expressing my needs. I love, I thrive on, I value, I long for, I would be nourished by. Doesn't that sound nice? Distinct from strategies. Needs do not specify which person, location, action, timing, or object. Okie dokie. So here are some needs. Belonging, acceptance, affection, appreciation, care, cooperation, communication, connection, closeness, community, companionship, compassion, consideration, consistency, empathy, inclusion, intimacy, love, mutuality, nurturing, participation. This is one that I had not even considered. Participation was what I was really lacking. And I was like, I didn't even know that I needed that. Of course I need that. Respect, self-respect, to understand, to be understood, visibility, safety, physical safety, psychological and emotional safety, security, stability, support, trust, warmth, honesty, authenticity. I know how to say that. Rest and play. Celebration, challenge, ease, enjoyment, fun, joy, humor, relaxation, stimulation. Peace, beauty, communion, ease, equality, harmony, inspiration, order. Physical well-being, air, food, water, movement, exercise, rest, sleep, sexual expression, safety, shelter, touch, meaning, awareness, celebration of life, challenge, clarity, competence, consciousness, contribution, creativity, discovery, diversity, variety, effectiveness, or efficacy, growth, hope, integration, learning, mattering, which obviously we've looked at. Respect and mattering are kind of like black hole needs, because you need to figure out what they are. Mourning, purpose, self-connection, self-expression, understanding. Last ones, guys. Autonomy, choice, freedom, independence, initiative, integrity, presence, space, and spontaneity. Okay, that is that. That are all the needs. I read them all. I didn't read all of the feelings. There was too many. Okay, so OF&R, what you saw with the camera, what feelings were coming up for you and for them. Do a separate OF&R for each. What needs weren't being met, so the needs that you would like to be met, but you felt weren't being met. And then the request. So the request would be something that once you've talked to that person, you've formed a connection with them, you've let them know how you feel, you would make an action request. You don't actually have to make an action request. If you do an OF&R, you can just make a request to yourself about how you want to move forward, about how you want to deal with it. It's really up to you. Okay, guys, I hope that you guys have gotten something out of this and it's been helpful. And I can obviously answer any questions, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.